Hi.
Thank you for joining us on AM News.
Thank you.
This rift that is forming in Cosatu, could you elaborate on this for us?
Look, essentially it's a division between a group that wants Cosatu to move closer to the ANC, to the current leadership of the ANC, and a group which wants to remain an ally of the ANC but wants to be more independent of the ANC. And really it's become a rather dirty fight in which any issue which emerges really becomes, if you like, a political football between the two factions. And I think we can confidently expect whatever happens at today's meeting is that it's going to be another factional battle.
What effect will this have on Cosatu's affiliates?
Well, if Cosatu, you see, look, the stakes are very high. The problem, the people who want to get rid of Zwelinzima Vavi, their problem is that, first of all, he's very popular among grassroots members, and that was demonstrated at the last Cosatu conference. Secondly, he has some powerful allies who may seriously think of leaving Cosatu if he's removed, and that could weaken Cosatu very substantially. So the cost to Cosatu of removing Zwelinzima Vavi could be very high, and the cost to the ANC could be very high, because of course Cosatu is an important ANC ally, which the ANC needs to campaign for it in next year's election.
Now, speaking of that, if he had to leave, what do you think the chances are that he will be axed today?
Well, I think the irony of the situation is that if the people who want to get rid of him are listening to the senior leadership of the ANC, they will not axe him, because the ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe, the Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa, went to the last Central Executive Committee meeting to persuade Cosatu not to axe Zwelinzima Vavi, because of course they know that the damage to the ANC in Cosatu would be very high. Apparently they had to battle to persuade people, so there certainly is a prospect that people will try to remove Mr. Vavi today. But on the other hand, at the back of their mind will be the reality that the damage to Cosatu will be immense, the damage to the ANC, which they're in alliance with, will be immense.
Now, talking of people who are casualties of this, Satu Tubilo Ntola, Satu president, was axed. He claims this is a witch hunt.
Well, it's clearly political. He hasn't been finally axed, he's been suspended. But, his opponents have made it quite clear that he's been suspended because he gave a platform to Zwelinzima Vavi, and he said that workers had accepted Vavi's apology. Now, whether he was correct or not, to actually suspend somebody for that kind of thing is a very extreme action. And it does indicate that there's a great deal of intolerance, at least from the anti-Vavi faction, for people who support Vavi. And this is a tragedy for Cosatu, because whatever other people may think of Cosatu, it has a record over many years of internal democracy, of settling disputes by open elections rather than by suspending people and throwing people out. And this is really a very big setback for Cosatu.
Cosatu used to be very unified. I remember them standing behind President Jacob Zuma, everyone, all the different guys together. Now all of a sudden it's all falling apart.
Well, it's falling apart in the sense that, you see, the unity was built to a certain extent, as it has to be in any organization, on respecting differences, on saying, okay, if we have a difference, we'll debate it, and if we have different candidates, we'll have an election, and then we'll accept the result and move on. What really has changed is that people are not prepared to accept the result. Vavi was elected unopposed at the last conference because it was quite clear that the majority of delegates in the hall wanted him as the General Secretary. What is happening now is that his opponents are going to the Central Executive Committee, which is not directly elected by workers. It consists of the presidents and the general secretaries of the union. So if you're in a situation where the members want somebody, you want to get rid of him, you have to find a forum where the members don't have a say. And it's very dangerous politics, because at the end, the strength of your organization depends on your members.
Lastly, Sdum Dlamini, NUMSA has already voiced their lack of confidence in his leadership. In your opinion, do you see him being largely affected by what happens today?
Well, Mr. Dlamini's problem is that he's clearly identified with the anti-Vavi faction. He's close to people within the ANC who want Vavi removed, and he's not seen as a neutral party. So certainly his situation is under threat. But I think what may happen is that Mr. Dlamini, in a sense, is being used as a bargaining chip. I think the pro-Vavi faction are, in a sense, saying, well, you leave Mr. Vavi alone and we'll leave Mr. Dlamini alone. That would certainly be the healthiest solution for Cosatu. But, of course, people don't always go for the healthiest solution.
Now, in the event that Vavi is axed today, what next for him, in your opinion?
Well, if there is a breakaway, I don't think it would happen immediately. I mean, NUMSA, which is the biggest union in Cosatu, is having a conference in December. It's certainly making noises which suggest that if Vavi goes, it may go too. If NUMSA goes, some other unions will go, and then you have a rival trade union federation, and it's not out of the question that the General Secretary of that rival trade union federation would be Zwelinzima Vavi. So certainly he's admitted he made a major error by having an affair with a subordinate. I don't think anybody's disputing that. But even if he's axed today, I don't think the political career and the public career of Zwelinzima Vavi is over by a long way.
Thank you very much for coming in. That's analyst Stephen Friedman with us here in the studio on AM News.